fluency, and then the Connect section is particularly strong on the problem solving and reasoning. Alright, so there are 5 steps within the program. The first one is engage, and that's largely whole class activities and looks at the proficiency strand of understanding. That's all about getting the kids interested. Then comes discover, which has a lot of independent or small group activities, and that's mainly focusing on understanding and fluency at that point. Then explore is the next point, which again is independent and small group largely, and that looks more at applying problem solving and reasoning. And the connect's the last one. Connects, as you'll see, draw on, so for example in the Connect for the end of the number and algebra unit, it will draw on a number of the concepts throughout the unit. It might draw on the 4 operations, it might draw on fractions a bit, so that it sort of pulls them all together, which is why it's called Connect, and puts it in a real world context. So that uses the 4 proficiency strands. And there's also an assessment component, which is quite important too, so you can see, I'll mention that as we go along, because there's sort of pre-assessment parts. There are things when I've used it that I've used during learning as well to assess where the kids are at and to know where to go, as well as some for the end. So the sequence really moves from the quite basic skills and understanding to applying. So a typical learning sequence. I'm going to take you through one that I used on the school that I work at. I'm the teaching and learning leader, but also the maths leader. And I've been working with, this year we decided we'd give a go once a week, streaming out Prep to 2. So I work with our top 1-2 group. And the sequence that I'm going to show you today, I did with them. So it was really good to have the experience of using it. Beside themselves with excitement when I told them they were the first kids ever to use this program. So that engaged them from the start, which was nice. As I said, I'll focus on Prep to 2 because they're the materials that we've got and I can actually physically show you them. Pre-assessment is the first thing, and this book, if you have a copy of all this, a copy of the pages I'm using in your pack, but I'll show you where they come from too. This book has pre-assessment tasks, so you can pull that out of there. While it says pre-assessment tasks, I've kind of used them as assessment during learning as well. You don't necessarily have to use it at the beginning. Then engage. In the early years, we have guided readers that you can use with a group, but I like to use it. There's a digital interactive which I'll show you shortly, and I like to use it up on there where everyone can see it and where there's a voice that reads it, so kids don't have to put up with me all the time. But I've found the kids have responded really well to that. The Discover section, there's a student book, and there's pages that the student books do where they're quite scaffolded examples to begin with, so they can build that understanding. And then the Explore activities in the books move on to real life situations, and then the Connects draw those together. In Foundation and Year 1, the Connects are quite hands-on still. There's a lot of cutting and pasting and comparing things, because I think it's really important, that hands-on, particularly in the early years, but even up through. I think maybe we underestimate sometimes how important that is as kids get older. The authors, by the way, of the Year 3-4 student books in particular are huge believers in not introducing formal algorithms too early, and in making sure that students understand those concepts really, really thoroughly, and that's reflected in the materials they've developed. So the components do vary slightly. The 3-4 doesn't have the guided readers, but and the interactives aren't based on the guided readers, they're pure activities based on the concepts. So there are slight differences. So finding your way around.